Goeiedag, dit is een interview wat we gaan doen voor Bovendien en Spiritueel Café TV met Meran Keshe, een Iraanse atoomwetenschapper die een hele hoop onthullingen op het gebied heeft van gezondheid, vrije energie en ruimtevaarttechnologie. Welkom meneer Keshe. Hello. Mr. Keshe, my name is Nexus and I'm doing this interview with you on behalf of all the people in the Netherlands who want to know more about your techniques and inventions. Can you tell me who you are and what you do for a living?
I am a nuclear physicist and I'm a director of a Dutch stichting in developing space technology.
Okay.
And our work is totally concentrated in space. Motion, energy, food, medical applications and material.
It's all one program.
We are more or less like NASA, but in a cheaper version, but more effective.
Okay. We'll see about that. Are you doing this for the money or for a different reason?
No, I don't do anything for money. I walked away for money to do this job.
Okay, that's a clear answer.
Yeah, because I come from 20 years of world business, and I left the world of business to finish this job.
So when money isn't your goal, what do you hope to achieve with your research and with your program?
Our program is to take man into space in a real way, not the NASA way. Mm-hmm. NASA burns fuel. NASA uses propulsion and even all this rocket technology. As I always say, in the space we don't see any rockets and no wings on any planet. Mm-hmm. But they all move and they keep their position. So now we understand the concept and we build a system which works on that concept. We don't, time of burning fuel and rocket propulsion is finished. It's long gone.
I thought, but I don't have the IDs. Now, a difficult question. You're an Iranian.
Yeah.
And nowadays this is almost a synonym for a bad person, isn't it? Because most conditioned Western media channels tell their listeners and their viewers that Iran is the mother of all evil in the Mideast. Of course, you and I know that that is biased and not true, but how do you get along with that stigmata?
First of all, I lived in Europe for over 35 years, 37 years now. I'm still, after 27 years, Iranian national. I am, like everybody else, working in one direction for world peace. And a lot of governments try to block us, try to stop the development. They tried for years. Now, in the past 12 months, they found out I'm Iranian, I'm a nuclear physicist, but I only work with the Belgians and Dutch. And within my organization, in the Organization of Keshe Foundation, we don't look at what the governments do. We look at in what we can achieve ourselves for the human progress in the space.
So you don't feel threatened?
We are threatened. They got me off a plane, they kept me 11 days in prison in Canada, and then they released me back into Belgium. So we receive threats. We have also something around us, but we ignore it because it's a short-sightedness.
Okay, I think so too. The health reactor technology. You say that the plasma health reactor technology shows us the basics of dynamic plasma magnetic fields reacting with each other, creating quarks, etc., which on their turn creating all there is. Is that correct what I'm stating?
Always say we teach the body to go back to its original condition. Mm-hmm. So what body does, body knows in its data, in memory bank, what the original copy was. And whatever is missing, it adjusts itself back to its original position.
Okay. But when there is a fault in the original copy?
You still have what we call a parent's copy.
Okay.
So we have developed a technology where now we're looking at people who have gene defects that we see if we can do something with, and some cases you can interfere. But you have to understand with all the things we've done up to now, we are at the beginning of a totally new technology and new base of knowledge, and the real term, not in what we've been enforced to accept by other scientists over centuries. Now we go back to the basic, and it's very easy. That's why we can get people after 15 years walking. These videos are on the internet. They can smell and taste. They can talk. They can stand. With Parkinson, we see it. With MS, we see it. With what do you call it? Diabetics, we see it. We have managed now.
So type 1 or type 2?
Both.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. We're now running a trial here in Belgium with a gentleman with 20 years, full book of all his dosages over the past 20 years. And we've seen the change in less than 6 weeks, the process of the change. And people do it at home, we don't control. So they drink the water at home, they use the system at home, and they send us the reports and the doctors do the verification.
So we call it the alvleesklier. I don't know the English word for it. So the part which gives the insulin.
Pancreas.
The pancreas.
No. That is the totally wrong concept about diabetic.
Okay, elaborate, please.
What we know, you have people who are not diabetic, or some people become diabetic. Let's say diabetic 2, or even diabetic 1. People who become diabetic, usually you see people like with COPD, then diabetic comes into it. You find people through the stress become diabetic. So diabetic 1 is the stress which is produced by the body internally. Diabetic 2 is the stress which man causes himself in his lifetime. But both of them come through neuro stress on the structure of the flow of the blood in the vessels. And now we understand it, and all we do, we take the stress away, and the rest is done by the body. That's why you see the result. Pancreas who pushes doing the job as it's doing with the diabetic, because in a way it's like having a dam or a pipe with a honey in it, and you're trying to push honey through. So there is a pressure. That pressure puts a stress on the wall of the blood vessels, and that in turn causes a lot of factors to come into operation. Then you need the insulin to do it. But in fact, it's totally to do with the stress, and we're proving it to be correct.
Okay. So you go back on the cellular.
No, we go on the structure of the creation.
DNA.
No, DNA is still based on the protein structure. But the plasma and the plasma technology is going before even the DNA is created.
Okay.
Actually, DNA is created out of mixture of collection of plasmas. So because we understand the basic, the foundation, then you can play with anything else. I always say, everything in the universe starts with a magnetic field.
Yeah.
When two magnetic fields interact, they create gravity and another what we call bigger magnetic field, which is a protection. Then there becomes one unit. And then when two plasmas interact, you get an atom, and then when a few atoms interact, you become a molecule and become chemistry. And then when a few more molecules interact and work together, it becomes biology. So because we work with the magnetic fields and before plasma, then we know what's happening in the biology. That's how we interfere. At the moment, in biology or in medicine, you interact with what is in the biology. So you have a lot of things to handle before. Working the way we do, we change the base, which is correct. The top corrects itself, but it takes time.
In fact, it's the same up there as down there in us.
No, in a structure, the whole universe is that way. This is what I say in all my talks. An atom, or let's say a proton, plasma of a proton, plasma of the Earth, plasma of our solar system, plasma of our galaxy, plasma of our universe, is the same thing, but in different measure of magnetic field. But they all follow the same pattern, the same principle. It's just that how much you have. Just because you have a little bit of water in a small cup and so much more in a bigger cup doesn't mean they're different water. It's the same thing, it's just a measure of the quantity. Then you have to understand how to handle it.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. What happens with the body while treated?
We don't treat, the body processes itself.
What happens with the body then?
Body finds out where it's gone wrong or where it needs to do the repair, and it doesn't necessarily repair.
Okay.
It's all controlled through the structure of the nervous system and whatever is controlling the nervous system.
And the results will always be permanent?
Yes, because the body does it, so there is no side effect.
Okay. We go over to the cash generator. To understand the cash generator, we have to understand that some theories about magnetic fields of the Earth are not correct. How we learn them. What can
how we've been taught about the Earth's magnetic field, it does not make sense in the universe. The biggest problem has been up to now to understand how gravity is created. Now we understand how gravity is created. And you can never have a magnetic field without a gravity, and you can never have a gravity without magnetic field.
How is it created then?
It's very simple. I always say, if you get a magnet, two pieces of magnets, two similar poles, they reject each other.
Of course.
And the environment they create is that we call the magnetic field with the big magnets, what we call the atmosphere. The other two sides, which are opposite polarity, they attract each other. So they gravitate. So that's the gravity. So if you start rotating the two together, the two magnets, in some point the two opposite poles are facing each other, they attract, and the other one, the two similar poles, they reject. So in dynamic entity like a plasma of an atom or an Earth or a solar system or a star, it's a dynamic, so they get a similar, dissimilar, dissimilar, similar. So you get a magnetic field and gravity together. And this is what the changes mean. And now we understand it, and so we have no problem.
But when this is true, then that the Earth core is just one core.
No,
that
the Earth core, there is a lot of Earth core is imaginary. There is no real data in what we've been told. We know it's made of different structures, that's for sure. But what they told us up to now in past centuries, that you have a solid inner core and a liquid outer core, and the convection theory and rotation of the solid core creates the magnetic field of the Earth.
Yes.
It does not explain where is the gravity coming. To have a gravitation, you need two magnetic fields that they can attract. That's what it means, that's what I just explained. So the inner solid core of the Earth has another part in it, which that part on its own creates its own magnetic and magnetic field, where the magnetic field of the two layers in interacting, because they are dynamic, create magnetic field, which is our atmospheric magnetic field, and a gravitational field at the same time. So now we see, even let's say in the stars, there is no solid core. The principles will be the same throughout the universe. So even in the stars, you have layers of different plasma, of different magnetic field strength, and their interaction causes the gravitation.
Is that the same technique as the torus technique?
I don't know what the torus is.
Torus now is a new movement, Thrive movement, and they are telling people about free energy, and they're telling the same story. About
free energy doesn't. Anybody who talks about free energy doesn't understand nothing about energy. Nothing is free. I always say the people who speak about free energy and they say they can produce 1 plus bit more, yeah, these are like magicians who have a bit of something left in their pocket they don't show. Or all they do, they go to a slightly higher field or the magnetic field which are hidden within the structure, and they manage to bring it out to show it, and they say it's a free energy. All the fields are there. Depends what you bring out what you can show. Yeah? So there is no free energy. Energy is magnetic field in motion. How can it be free if it wasn't there? Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's a magic show which has started very recently. Free energy are the people who are just con men because they don't understand. I attended a meeting in Frankfurt last Saturday, and the guy shows a battery with a box, and then he says, the battery says 12 volts on it, and 3 amps or something. It comes out to so, and then if you see my light bulb and a meter, you get 57 watt. So the difference was 40 watt from the battery and 57 watt from the light he was turning on. And it says the battery is a DC and the light is a AC. And then I just, because I was there as a guest talker, I said, can you explain, you talk about the DC in your battery, and then you talk about AC in your light. Can you explain to the people here that even a battery carries a DC and an AC, but you don't show AC, so you show us as a magic. You can't create energy out of nothing. It's in the battery. You have to know what you're showing. So to him, oh, he's creating free energy, he's made this machine. In fact, there's no machine made. All he's doing in the battery measurement, he shows you the DC. But in the final process, he shows you AC plus DC, which is in the box. You understand? So in fact, there is no magic. There is no free energy.
So how we have to call it then?
This is additional energy which we can call upon environment which the system is running.
Because you and with your techniques, you're putting out that energy too.
No, we don't show that. This is something people don't understand with our technology. We don't burn any fuel. So all we do, we show what energy and the fuel which is already in there. This is a big difference. People don't understand. We do not give free energy. There's a lot of misconception about what we do. We even show with a torch. We say there is nothing here. We can collect what's in the environment and we show it as a light in the torch. It's the same with the Keshe plasma reactor. We don't come out of nowhere. What's in our system, we open the energy of the plasma, the magnetic field of the plasma, so we use as much as you need at the time you need. Nothing is free. This is what people don't understand, and that's why it's very simple. A plasma of electron, let's say a proton, has been on Earth from billions of years. And it's going to be here for another few billion years, or in the universe, wherever you explode to. There is enough energy, has been enough energy in this plasma, in its center, in its star, that has been given enough magnetic field out for 5 billion years, and then it's got enough still left for another, let's say 5 or 10 billion years. We have learned how to open this plasma and use this plasma magnetic field for 100, 200, 300 years. And when we finish with it, 1 minute, 10 minutes, 10,000 years, it goes back to being a plasma again. So we don't burn. This free energy concept, this bunch of crooks who have got in the bandwagon. Nobody has ever given free energy. Huh?
No, I think they call it free energy. You don't have to pay for it.
No, nothing is free. You pay for it. It's like this new technology they put out with a powder of nickel, cadmium, or whatever, nickel, copper. You pay and they give you 10 kilowatt of thermal energy.
Okay.
So I saw a lecture on somebody showing it on in the talk I was this Saturday. But they don't tell people, very simply, all they do, they call it cold fusion. There is no cold fusion. All they do, they split the atom and ask hydrogen to be in there. This technology was known in Belgium in 2004, 2005. Huh? Now they come up with it. There is no free energy. If you split atom or a molecule, you get energy back. What we say is, it's very simple. You don't understand the plasma of atom, a proton, get a bigger plasma. The bigger plasma is a solar system. You have the sun, you have the earth. If I take energy from the sun I can take as much as I like if I go wherever I want to be nearer to it than Earth. Yeah? The energy of the sun never finishes. As long as the solar system is here, it's there. Yeah? So if I take energy 10,000 times than the energy the Earth creates, have I made the magic? No, I only took the energy which was in the sun. That's what we do. You cannot create energy. Free energy, if you know where to go, there is free energy everywhere. But there is something which I always say in all my talks. Even the systems we put in the market very soon, 2012, these systems hardly use any fuel. So to you it's free, because you don't have to pay for the fuel.
Exactly.
But we invite and we inform the government whom and which company or which person has bought these systems from us. Because if 1 million people have a system in Belgium, then nobody is using any fuel. All the taxes from the fuel, from the electricity or whatever, is cut from the government. The income is gone. Who's going to pay for the streets? Who's going to pay when your pension, you and your old to look after you? Who's going to pay for the hospitals? Are they going to be free? So you have to pay. This technology is not to disturb the structure of the society. It's to solidify it, but everybody takes as much as they need at the time they need, but they contribute into the society as much as it needs for the society to stay stable. Yeah. So this free energy game, sooner or later, people who buy our systems will be taxed by the governments per unit they use, like the cars you use. The size of the car you use, you pay tax. You don't pay the taxes, who's going to look after your school, your child in the school? So let's finish with this free talk of free energy. A few people might have, but when it becomes nationally, then we all have to pay something towards from what we use. So it goes back again on taxation.
Well, what if when the governments are the problem?
I think we are the people who are in government, so we are the problem. We have to find out what our problem is, then the governments won't have a problem. This is half of the people, all the people in the governments are normal people. Yeah? And they change things according to what it suits them.
Nowadays, I think that governments are pushing people with energy. Energy is a method of pushing and a method of enslaving people.
I don't think that way, and that's beyond my thinking and my work. The reason we developed this technology, I always say, Keshe Foundation is a space program. These are the fallouts from developments, like Teflon. Teflon was made for NASA for a space. Now everybody has a Teflon in the house. This free energy, or what you call our energy system, that you want to call it free energy, is not developed for people to have it because we developed it. It's developed for a space. In a space, we are 100% on course, on track, that we can't carry all the fuels. But in the universe, it is full of magnetic fields. We can collect the minutest magnetic field, convert it into light, convert it into energy. Yeah? So, if people want to try to get our system back to be for Earth and we need free energy, it's a fallout from the development, but it's not what we work for.
Last time when I saw a lecture of you in the Netherlands, you talked about 2 cell phones and giving the technique free to the people of the world.
That development has gone much further since I met you a few weeks ago. It's going on a trial. It is on its trial, and in a due course time, it will come through the right channels. What this means is that if you have 2 mobile phones, working or not working, anywhere in the universe, anywhere on Earth, which I developed this especially because in Africa, doesn't matter wherever you are, you find people have even mobile phones. Now they can use the mobile phone's structure to create enough energy from their environment, to create enough water, to create enough food, and to have enough energy to live a safe life. So there will be nobody who can abuse the other. And that's the whole purpose of part of our work, is that this time around we all go equal and in the same course. White man cannot abuse the black, and the black cannot abuse other and the rest. So everybody gets the same information. The beauty of it is, I've been working on this for 30 years to develop it. And out of the greed or out of our advancement in technology, we have spread mobile phone everywhere in the world. So what best? You have everything already everywhere. So it's not a fuel that I have to send somewhere for them to use. Very soon we teach everybody how to use a mobile phone to create enough energy that they can live a decent life. You don't have to die of contaminated water, where if you understand how to create energy through the system, you can take a clean moisture from the air and drink a pure water in Africa or anywhere else, that you don't need to drink contaminated waters. In China we have the same problem. In Europe most of the rivers are contaminated. But in the air there is enough moisture that instead of the cloud raining it and then going in the ground and then we dig it out or we pump it out, now we developed a process that you can actually take enough moisture as you need without the wind, because there is a theory, there is a working that you have tunnels that you suck in air. Now you don't need to do that, because you can create a field that matches the moisture, and the moisture just literally comes out of the sky.
So they can have the energy they need.
They can have the water. You don't always have the light. During the day you don't need the light.
No.
So during the day when you don't need the light, you put your system on absorbing water. And the way as we do with our medical side, the health side, you can give enough in the water, the right information in the condition, that it gives enough energy for you to live.
And can the two cell phones even do the trick of what I cannot call it, but I will call it anti-gravity?
In a way, yes, but you are looking totally the wrong side.
No, I'm trying.
Yeah, but the systems can be used that anywhere in the universe you can produce enough. If I lose you in a space on your own, you don't want to die. Okay? So if you have the knowledge, you can build a system for yourself, to feed yourself, to survive. This is the purpose of Keshe Foundation. This is exactly what NASA does. That's what the European Space Center. We try to pre-plan every eventuality. In our program, we would not take any food. At the same time, why we are developing this health application is not for people if they've got a cancer or somebody is paralyzed. The whole purpose is, in a space we can't take all the medicine, all the doctors with us. So now we're developing a system which one system can do the job of all the medicines it needs. I cannot come to you and say, excuse me, the captain had a heart attack, we need a heart, do you mind if I take yours? This process now, we allow, with testing, we allow the heart to repair itself. So you don't need it. It's not a joke, we've done it. We put videos on how you can grow organs and these things, and we are developing more. If the captain or the doctor goes in coma, I can't wait 20 years to become back.
But basically it's the same technique.
It's the same.
Always the same technique.
I told you, plasma of a proton is the plasma of the universe. It's the quantity which is different.
Okay. Then you had a generator. The gas generator can do more than just produce energy. It can, I left out the free, it can clean the air of carbon dioxide, you told me.
We've done this, we showed it. It was...
That's the biggest problem nowadays.
Yeah, the CO2 became a big problem because they wanted to make money out of it.
Okay.
When we showed it can be done, CO2 is no problem, global warming is not that bad anymore. We've shown it, we showed the process in Eindhoven. I don't know if you were there.
No.
And we have shown it in our book. We published the papers in our book. It's been tested by the University of Ghent scientists, measurements and everything, that we have developed a technology, we can convert gases into solid at room temperature. So we can absorb CO2 and make it into a solid immediately. And the advantage with this process is that the process creates a lot of energy which you can use. In Eindhoven we show there's a light in light bulb, LED light you turn on. But in discovering that you can change gases into solid at room temperature, now we can explain how matters or energies in our body converts to our flesh and blood. And if people say, how can you make gas solid at room temperature and pressure, I always say, just pinch yourself. What are you pinching? Amino acids, which are 4 gases. How come they're solid? It's the first time now we understand how the real force state of matter is, because solid, liquid and gas are environmental matter dependent. If it's a temperature equals liquid, the higher temperature pressure equals. But now that we understand how gravity is created, if you change the gravitational magnetic field of the atom internally, you can have a solid of CO2 anywhere in the universe.
Okay.
In the middle of the star or in the North Pole. So that's a real force. And that's how our body has become solid through gases. And that's how every time we eat food, the energy which has come from the sun, it hits the surface of the top layers of the earth, it becomes fragments of a magnetic field. The animals get some of it, the plants get some of it, they eat it, and then we eat them, and then it goes in our digestion system. Our digestion system changes back to magnetic field, and then it goes into our system, and then our body, at a point of need, it converts these magnetic field gases into a solid, it becomes our flesh. Yeah? So, as we've shown in Eindhoven, that this process of conversion of a gas to a solid at room temperature creates energy, now for the first time we can explain how our 37-degree body temperature comes from. There is no furnace. Every time fields in our body converts to become flesh, to become matter, they release energy, and that energy is 37 degrees.
Okay.
So the first time we can explain how we heat ourselves. The way physically we show how we can change CO2 into matter. We've done it with CH4, we've done it with CH3, we've done it with amino acid gases. We converted fresh air into protein, and this was done in 2008 in Tehran. So we know a lot of things which we were falsely taught in the physics. Now we see it, we understand it, and as I always say, what the book we opened up now in the real term of science is like a house with 1,000 steps. We haven't even got up to get on the first step yet. The rest of the humanity has to develop the other steps.
Do you even understand the idea that you have a key to liberate the whole world?
We know what we have, we don't have the key. I sometimes think man had this knowledge, but out of material greed, somehow he forgot to make the chose a different path. I always say, man, over thousands of years, saw the birds, and he wanted to be from shackles of the bird, that he can fly like a bird. So for thousands of years we worked, we made a wing, but we were falling off. When we discovered how to make engines, then we put the engines on this wing and now become aeroplane. And we move. If our ancestors there were no birds on this planet, they could see the stars and the other planets moving in motion, they would have understood how they move the way we do now, and we wouldn't be here now. We would have discovered what I propose, and now we have systems, it will be the same. We have discovered how universe moves. Universal motion we learned. We copied the bird, now we're copying the universe. That's why it looks a bit strange. In 5-10 years time, what technology we brought out will be like computers. Everybody will be using it, I don't know. It's like the light bulbs you have. The light bulbs now is a fancy thing. To stay on, we have to switch a machine on or plug it in. With the technology we have developed, you need a cover to cover the light because it's always on. And it's very simple. They tell me you're crazy. It's not. If you understand how light is created in the universe, then you know how simple it is, because we made a copy of universal system. The magnetic and gravitational field of the sun hits the gravitational magnetic field of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Where they hit, where they interact, the friction between, the interaction between the two creates a daylight. Yeah?
Okay.
On the back of the earth, when there is no interaction with the magnetic gravitational field of the sun directly, we have a nighttime. Yeah? So the daylight comes from the interaction of the two, magnetic and gravitational fields. Now, I create the same system, we developed the same technology thanks to the Iranian government, with a great help from them in 2008, that it does the same thing. So, when my system creates a gravitational magnetic field and it goes beyond the boundary of my system, this gravitational magnetic field interacts with Earth gravitational magnetic field. The same thing has happened between the sun and the earth magnetic field, it happens between my system and the earth. So you get a light, shining light, because of the friction of two fields. So having a light bulb which is on 24 hours a day, as long as you can keep that magnetic gravitational going, is constant.
Yeah.
Now this brings you to another point. People talk about UFOs because they see a bright light in the sky. Our systems every time works because of the same principle. It creates bright light. That's why we call our systems MAGRAF systems, or they call it bright light in the sky. We have shown it, government have seen it, they know how the technology works, reactors have been shown to the people who matter, and soon will be done. But there's a lot of orders which has to be put in place before man can understand and use this technology.
Iran has this technology too.
It was developed. I developed it fully in its last stage in Tehran in 2008.
So we can send that one, say, to Mr. Obama or
Iranian government announced in March of 2010. It's on the internet. They have a spaceship program. Iran is the only country which has a spaceship program. A spaceship program means, a space program is Russian Space Agency, NASA Space Agency, that they use rocket, or what are called Chinese firework from 1,000 years ago, and they stick a bird into it and they call it the shuttle. As I said, we don't see anybody coming and attacking the Earth, and the Earth has no wings on it and no jets. But it always moves, and it always protects itself, and it finds its position in respect to the sun and everywhere else. So now we have discovered how it's done in a simple machine. This machine was initially tested in Belgium around 2000, but the later stage, final stage of what we call System 4 was developed in Tehran, thanks to the office of the research office of the Iranian President's office. And since 2008, now we are in the version number 6, which is the 6th generation, which is literally the telephones we talk about, because it's more advanced but more powerful.
But it's second time your technology, of your techniques, is important for the world. First time people can use the technology, can use it for without anybody misusing them or come too much money. And the second time now is Iran is being accused of building nuclear weapons and nuclear.
First of all, you have to understand something very clearly. I am a
when they have that, they don't need that.
No. Wait. First of all, I'm an Iranian nuclear physicist. But the people who understand nuclear industry, they know you have a plasma, which is a nuclear. You have uranium, plutonium, which is a very heavy element nuclear. I'm involved with the plasma, not with the heavy elements. Secondly, for humanity to go in any direction, we need to know the full spectrum. And this spectrum does not and cannot be exclusivity of certain nations or races.
Of course not.
So, why certain people can have it and accuse the other one not to have it? Because of the future control.
I agree with you.
So we understand, the governments understand, people who are wise in the nuclear industry understand. Iran and the nuclear industry, Iran is in a safe hand. Iran could have used the system which I have a spaceship program to do something else. We do not need the continental missiles, because let me explain to you something very simple. Concorde, which used to go from Paris to New York, because of the friction and heat, used to expand, lengthen by a few centimeters. In this technology, as I explained to you, when you have a magnetic field, gravitational field, your craft never comes in touch with the atmosphere. You're shielded by your magnetic field. The speeds we are talking on the Earth atmospheric condition is 30, 40, 50,000 kilometers an hour and beyond. The only reason the limit is if you go too fast, you fall out of the atmosphere. That's the only reason. We tested it. We know what we are talking about.
You talk about 22 minutes to Mars.
Yeah, whatever it is. If you do that, yeah. So, if you have a spaceship program, you don't need the rocket propulsion missile. And if you have this program and you know what it can do as a lethal weapon, yeah, so we want to know to understand the technology. Everybody needs to understand the technology. So Tehran, New York is between 5 to 7 minutes. You think bombing Iran will help anybody? No.
No.
But there is one thing else. Because we have this technology, we can capture anything on flight.
You showed that.
Continental missiles do 2 Mach 3. 44,000 kilometers, picking up a little mouse by a falcon. Okay? It's been shown it can be done, and it's been done. Yeah. So the people who accuse of developing nuclear are the people who have a different target. But nuclear industry, nuclear processing, nuclear atomic structure has to be understood by all the nations that they can do and develop their science. You don't hear something which is very interesting. Iran is accused of making nuclear bombs or nuclear technology. How come Iranian nuclear physicists are working in CERN? Why? Because it's budget of Iranians. Why don't you talk about it? Why don't you talk about Iranian physicists are here in Belgium and Europe working in plasma? Huh? It has to be a balance. Why CERN is the nuclear base? Huh? Why are the Iranian physicists all over America working? Why there is an Iranian in the board of directors of NASA? First generation Iranian.
My question was initially, why would Iran does this sort of research when they have your?
The research has to be done. With all the things I told you, we understand from this technology. With everything they understand on the heavy elements, which is plutonium, we don't even know half of the physics of the nuclear. We need a spectrum. We need to understand the full structure. And nuclear technology should not become exclusive. You know what's the problem? I always say in my talks, if nuclear industry become exclusivity of 3 or 4 countries, which they are pushing to do it, in 20 years' time we are in the same position as we are with the oil. Few countries like Saudi and Libya and Iran will control the fuel consumption of the rest of the world. We can't be back in the same position that others can abuse. And this is how they are targeting. Nobody will have nuclear. They'll be accused of having nuclear bombs, making nuclear bombs with false accusation. You block, and then in 30, 40 years' time, you lot have to begging for your fuel because there's only 3 or 4 countries to control it. We are back in the same process. The game of nuclear, to people like me and the people who stand in the structure of the energy in the world, we understand it. We need the oil. We need the nuclear. We need the plasma technology, which is opening up the way we opened it. We need the wood and we need the charcoal. But everything to be used on its own, you cannot accuse nations of making nuclear bomb because they're researching. Or there are two things about it. It's the future control, which we are getting close at, or something has to come like this technology out, which obsoletes the weapon technology what is today, and then everybody works from the same hymn sheet.
Okay.
So we're all the same.
We have the health technology, we have the transport technology, and we have the energy technology, which is one and the same.
Yeah. And the food and the material.
And the food and the when can people of the world use this?
At the moment, the health is getting used across the world. We are not just working in Belgium. This technology has been used in Saudi Arabia, it's used in Iran, it's used in America. We have Americans who I spoke with her last night. There are Americans who've been to Belgium, taking the system because they're sick, they've seen the change. We're using it in Canada, in France, in Germany. Everywhere it's getting in Africa. So it's not when, it is already there. But it's gradually opening up. The energy is 2012.
But I still have to pay my check to the energy.
Yeah, but you have to, even when I give you the system of plasma, you still have to pay your taxes to your government.
It will be much less.
The expenses are the same. It'll be less of us, because there's something which in one of my letters to you, to the officials I've written before. The biggest problem with this technology in the next 10, 20 years will be Japan's problem.
That's how long it takes, 10, 20 years?
No. Let me explain to you in 10, 20 years. We'll be in the same position as Japan is. Japan has a lot of elderly and not enough people to look after them. The way we open this space technology, we open in the next 4 to 5 years, a farmer in the back of Africa, a farmer near Amsterdam, a guy who's paralyzed in Tehran, does not want to go to Mars or to Jupiter or in the other galaxies. All the scientists, all the cream of the society will go to explore, the way we did in America, when America was found. So
there was scum. The scum of Europe took to America.
Yeah. But at the moment today, all the scientific brain drains into the United States. Yeah. So when all these people go from here, we've seen it today. You have a lot of doctors from Africa, but the pay is so good in Europe, they stay here, their own countries are short of support. Yeah? So when we open the space, all these intelligent rich guys all want to go into space. There'll be such a traffic that there'll be nothing here to support your mother or your grandfather who are ill. So there has to come an order how we immigrate this time. There should be a structure set gradually. When people see it, we're going to show. We showed the first space reactor 3rd of December in Ghent. Nobody has seen it before that day in open.
This year?
Yes, last year. We showed it the 3rd of December last year. It was shown in Ghent. The power generator structure was shown in Ghent in the same presentation. The OSS unit, which is a life support unit, was shown in Ghent. We were going to show it in Ireland on the 26th of November, for certain reasons we got blocked, because we had to cross borders or whatever. But in Belgium we are home, so we showed it in the audience of 130 people. Everybody has seen it, they've seen a video of the weight reduction. So the technology is not a dream, it's a reality, but we have to find a way that we don't disturb the apple cart.
So there's a lot of people on the internet nowadays that are critical about you. They say Mr. Cash is telling a lot, but he's not showing us. He's telling us about a floating car, but he's not showing us. He's telling us about free energy.
We have shown our technology, like our medicine, to the people who matter and they can put things in plan, in order. Yeah? We have shown our system. When I came back from Tehran, I was asked, and I met, and I went to the office of the Prime Minister of Belgium. We went with the reactor in our hand. This is what it is. The reactor was tested, has been tried in Ghent University by scientists who know. the reactor, the space reactor, was shown to Boeing Corporation in their offices in Brussels 3 years ago. Yeah? People who matter, governments who matter, who want to be seeing it, have seen it.
You said something to me about Mercedes.
We have offered the flying car technology to Mercedes and Toyota.
Okay.
Yeah? We have correspondence and everything with them. We were going to show the flying car in Eindhoven. We can even show you email from the organizers. Can you give us the size of the car and how much it will take in the podium? So this is, you have to understand, a lot of people are not ready.
Okay. So, Mr. Keshe, I have a lot of questions more.
Yeah, no
You
problem.
can imagine, but we have to stop now for this moment.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much
Thanks,
for your
I hope
time
we
and for your
can
answers.
cross the information right way.
Oké, thank you. Thank you very much. Dat was het dan, beste dames en heren. Nou, ik zal nog een vragenlijst doorsturen naar meneer Keshe, die dan hopelijk ook beantwoordt. Die zal dan nog apart vermeld worden, want niet alles is aan bod gekomen. In ieder geval hartstikke bedankt, Spiritueel Café en bovendien. Dank u wel.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.